It's another back-to-back weekend and it all matters rugby. This tells you how rugby it's very important as a sports discipline, especially in Kenya. All action starting tomorrow will be down in Singapore, where the Kenya Sevens team will be there. And you know, Singapore Sevens has good memories with the Kenya Sevens team, Kabir. This is where they won their first ever Men Cup Sevens title way back in 2016. Will it be a good champ for them this time round?
Alex, you know, it's almost 10 years down the line. And yes, we historically have the memory to carry forward that we have competed in this tournament and we've competed well. I think if memory serves me correctly, in the finals we beat Fiji 37. But none of those players who were playing at that time are in the current team. This is a very new team. And they have to forge their own history. So whilst we have the memory, we know what it takes to win a major tournament. The question is whether the boys can put it together to replicate that form.
Powered by M-Pesa, probably that's another motivation that the boys, now that they are playing, heading to the playoffs. Remember that the Singapore Sevens 2024-2025 HSB Sevens World Series, this is the penultimate leg. They are going to face France, who were the runners-up in the Hong Kong Sevens, and Ireland. So they are going to start with Ireland, who, if you look at the head-to-head, the Ireland beat Kenya at the Vancouver Sevens. The last time that Kenya beat Ireland was way back in Dubai Sevens. What is your thought on this three-team pool?
Look, you know, we're at the business end of the seventh season, as it were. There's only Singapore, and after that, Los Angeles. Ireland are a team that's been struggling on paper, and with their history, they probably would have hoped to have been a better side. They haven't come to the form, and I think that unless I'm mistaken, we're currently standing above them. I think it's a 2 or 3 point difference.
Yeah, they are 15th, we are 9th.
Yeah.
Actually, they're 11th. We are placed at 9th place.
Yeah.
They have 15 points. We have 18 points, 3 points difference.
There you go. And so, you know, I wouldn't put it past us to be able to beat Ireland. You know, we put on a great performance against France. And to be honest, for anyone who watched the game, you'd say it was probably one of the best games of the tournament, with France just scoring a last-minute try to get one past us. Eventual finalists in that tournament in Hong Kong. So we have what it takes to compete against the big teams. These are also the Olympic champions. So based on that form, given that was our last game, if we can carry that forward, continue to improve on the basics and the ball handling, we certainly have the speed and the power to beat a team like Ireland. And then, you know, France again, second bite at the cherry. I'm not sure how France's form will have carried through, but obviously they started slow in that tournament and got better and better. So I think that the French team that Kenya will face will be playing with a different mindset because, you know, they finished second in that tournament. And so whilst Kenya will have a good feeling against them, yet again, we'll have to play great rugby to beat them. Definitely
we head into the playoffs because we can't catch up with number 8, which is Great Britain. There's a difference of 20 points. They have on 38, we are on 18, meaning that the most we can collect winning the Men Cup title is 20 points, meaning if we cannot match them because they will even get a single point if, let's say, hypothetically, they finish last, so we can't catch up with them. Do you think, in your own opinion, coming back to the Sevens World Series from the Challenger Series, this is where you expected Kenya to be?
Look, I think we'd hoped that they do better. And realistically, if we're being very honest, they're a much more capable side than what they've played. I think the last time we played in Canada, in Vancouver, was exceptionally disappointing. We literally dropped the ball, figuratively and literally, because the basics just weren't there. But, you know, one thing to give the boys credit for is they picked up their skills. They've shown that they have what it takes to not only, it's one thing to make mistakes, but it's another thing to be able to make mistakes and move forward. And they've shown they have the ability to do it. I think going back to the Challenger Cup would be a little bit of a a harsh reality, but maybe one that we need because, in sport, you can make all the excuses you want. But ultimately, if we have to play great rugby again to move up, then so be it. But I think that this team is very, very capable and has what it takes. Not just, in terms of skills, but also in the support. You look at the sponsorship that M-Pesa has put through. It's not misplaced. It's well-founded. They've earned their place. They're very capable. And I think they just need to find a way to do that more consistently.
And again, give it to the boys because 90% or 98% of the team, they are making their debut at the top level of sevens in the world, including the management, the head coach and his assistant, that is Kevin Wambua. And give it to the boys because they have really tried. I believe if they go to the Challenger Series, and then they come back again, now they have the routine check. They know what's supposed to be done there. So I think kudos to the boys.
Alex, you and I have watched some of these games and we've watched how the boys have played. We don't make excuses for the mistakes they've made. But I think it's really important to focus on what they've done well as well, which is correct a lot of those mistakes. As I said previously, the consistency hasn't been there. But it is one of the youngest, or I think it is the youngest side playing in sevens at the moment. And so we're laying foundation for what comes next. So if this is the youngest side that we have with the least experience, and this is their performance, you can say that even if we go down, like the foundations we've laid for what lies ahead, it can only get better.
Your prediction, starting with Ireland tomorrow at 7 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. What's your prediction?
I think we'll beat Ireland. I would be disappointed if we lost to them. I think that's a must-win, should-win game for us. I think we've been playing better rugby more consistently than they have, and I think the rankings are fair. So we should beat Ireland. And second game against France, I think it'll be a tall order. Having said that, though, based on our last performance against them, we're carrying a lot of confidence. We know their players, they know our players, and so France will be ready for a tough game. Again, I think our speedster, Patrick Okongo, is really a force to be reckoned with, and I think that most teams recognize that. So he's committing a certain number of players wider, which leaves spaces across the rest of the pitch. And so, these are things that we should exploit in our favor.
Men Cup, quarterfinal, semi-final, final.
I don't think we're going to. I find it hard to see a way through for us at the moment. And I think that because we have a lot of other games to rely on, I think we'll just have to wait and see. But for sure, we should beat Ireland. And then we'll see what happens with France.
I'll pick it up with what you said last time, that a game of sevens, you can't know what will happen. Anything can happen. Kenya will qualify for the Men Cup quarterfinals. That is my prediction because it's only 3 teams that we are in. So we beat, it's very possible also for Kenya to top that pool because, look, we've beaten France before. Ireland, we beat them before. So, and the boys, they know what is at stake. So probably predicted them to end on a high as they look at the playoffs because that's the most important thing.
For sure. And one thing to consider in sevens as well is a big part of the game is fitness and recovery. So France had to play more games. Mm-hmm. Yes, their rugby improved as they went through. And, we're talking about the Olympic champions here. But they've played more games. So their recovery is going to take longer. And as a result, because we didn't make it through, we'd hope that our boys have had time to recover and they should be fitter and stronger. If you can look at it comparatively, recovery time versus games played, we should be fitness-wise in a better position than both the French and the Irish. So we have a better chance of beating both of them. It's not necessarily to say that, skills is a different issue, but in terms of pure fitness alone, and that's where I think we'll give France a run for their money.
Team Kenya is crowd pulling. So looking at Singapore Sevens, we have our 8th man there, and I know they'll not disappoint Team Kenya Sevens. So come out in large numbers and support Kenya Sevens team as they play at the Singapore Sevens. They have memories in 2016 where they won their first ever Men Cup title, and they are facing Ireland in their first match. Then they face on France, and very optimistic Team Kenya Sevens back here in Kenya. We'll be rallying behind them. M-Pesa will be there sponsoring them. They have done very well because that is a morale booster, especially for the boys. They know that pesa ipo mfukoni. M-Pesa inacheza kama wao. So they are very well motivated knowing that they are going to meet the results from Singapore.
Yeah, I think that, again, we've said it before, not only is the nation behind our boys, and the 8th man will be there, but you could almost argue that the 8th and the 9th man are also M-Pesa.
Correct.
The support that has been shown for this team and the support that M-Pesa has given to this team is monumental insofar as it's not just money in the pocket, it's also a belief that they can do it. If somebody believes in somebody or something, they say, we'll put our money where we believe it should be, and they put it behind the boys, and I think it's very well founded.
All the best, Kenya Sevens team, and the Kenyans are behind you.